God's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. My name is Muhammad. New video and a new story. But before starting, don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. Let's begin. The story of the ambulance genie. I used to work as a driver for a private hospital, and the hospital I worked in had a haunted ambulance around which many legends revolved. Called Number 12. Many ambulance men had stories about this car, but I did not give much importance to the supernatural things and stories of jinn and goblins that they always talked about until I had my own experience with ambulance number 12. My paramedic partner and I were working an evening shift covering a remote rural area. And it was 3 in the morning, complete darkness and complete silence around us, and we were all fast asleep. I was in the front seat in front of the wheel of the car, and my partner was sleeping in the other seat next to me. Suddenly I woke up to a muffled sound. I thought it was my colleague, the paramedic, talking on the phone. I told him that I was trying to sleep and that he had to end his call quickly, and I closed my eyes to sleep. Suddenly I clearly heard a man's voice saying, "Oh my God, I am going to die. I can't catch myself. My soul is leaving my body." And we heard the sound of someone breathing hard. I and my colleague woke up terrified. It was neither his voice nor my voice, and there was no one but us in the ambulance. My colleague and I slowly looked at the back of the ambulance. The part where the sick and injured were transported, because the sound we heard came from this place, and as expected, we did not see anything. My friend and I got out and checked the back of the car and did not find anyone there. We closed the back door through which we entered the patents and decided to return to our places in the front of the car. But after a few seconds, we heard the sound of pressure on the oxygen bottle and the sound of emission, as if gas was leaking from the cylinder. I quickly turned on all the car lights and my phone light as well, and we got out of the car quickly. I thought someone passed by and got into the car, but when did this person get in? My colleague and I inspected the car less than a minute ago, but we decided to open the back doors again and inspect the car to make sure of a gas leak. Oxygen, because it is dangerous, and as expected, we did not find anyone. I checked the oxygen cylinders and found that none of them had been opened. We could not sleep again tonight. The morning I was sitting in one of the cafes and I told what happened to me to one of my friends. He said to me, "This is the Kareen of one of the people who died in the ambulance." The Kareen is a type of jinn that stays with a person throughout his life, but he does not die when the person dies. Sometimes the Kareen jinn behaves strangely and teases me, people and their arm, especially if the owner died in a painful accident or died betrayed. One day the ambulance transport all the cases. This is the closest explanation to what happened to me last night. The second story is titled The Pirate's Jinn. On May 20, 1922, Anthony Rickson, aka Mr. Tony, reported this story in a column in the Sun Herald. It is told in this story that in the early 19th century, 2 fishermen spent the night on Deer Island off the coast of Biloxi in Mississippi. The 2 fishermen heard strange noises on the island. At first, the 2 hunters did not pay any attention to these sounds, but they continued throughout the night and were increasing in intensity and volume, making it impossible to sleep with these sounds. When the two hunters decided to go to find out what was causing these sounds, they said that they found a headless skeleton moving strangely and suddenly started running after the two hunters. The two hunters escaped and left the island immediately. Legends tell about this island that it contains a skeleton belonging to a pirate who was beheaded by the sea captain, and the body of this pirate was left as a terrifying guard to monitor the treasure buried on his island. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and share your opinions in the comments. The third story is titled The Ghost of a Mother Searching for Her Child. This story was maintained on the Atlas Obscura website. It is sad that this story began as an ordinary murder and then turned into a ghost story. At the beginning of the 20th century, in Weatherford, Kitty DeWitt James left her home with her child after severe disagreements broke out with her husband, which ended with her filing for divorce from her husband. Kitty planned to move to her cousin's house, but her family has not heard from Kitty again since she left her husband's house. Investigation began into Kitty's disappearance, and after the investigation it became clear that she had moved to live with one of her friends who worked as a night girl in the city, and her name was Franny Norton. The last time people saw Kitty was leaving the house with Franny and her son, putting him in a stroller. But what was strange was that Franny and the child returned home without Kitty, and according to eyewitnesses, the child was covered in blood. After searching, there was no trace of Kitty, but after a while her body was found near a local stream and her head had been cut off. Rumors were that her ex-husband killed her with the help of her friend Franny, but Franny denied this and said that she was not involved in Kitty's murder. But strangely, on the day Franny was scheduled to be interrogated by the police, she poisoned herself. The neighbors living next to Franny's house say that they see the ghost of a woman in the form of a blue shadow passing through the city streets. Some of them heard the voice of a woman searching for her child, and others swear that they saw a woman in an upper basement of Franny's house who looked like Kitty. The fourth story. A friend of mine who works as a nurse in a hospital says, "One night I came home late. It was winter and it was raining heavily. My clothes were wet and my body was icy. I couldn't find any means of transportation, so I had to get back on my feet. As soon as I entered our street, I encountered a dog that was staring at me as if we had a vendetta that wanted relation against me. I screamed, but no one helped me at that time, and thanks to the Lord's grace, it remained motionless in its place, content with staring at me. I ran to our house, and as soon as I started to enter it, I bumped into something close to the spider web. I tried to remove it from my face, but I did not find anything, as if I was imagining it at the time. As soon as I climbed the stairs of our house, I felt intense heat all over my body, even though it was winter and the weather was extremely cold, and my clothes were still wet, dripping with rainwater. That night I could not sleep, but due to extreme fatigue and exhaustion, I eventually fell asleep and I had a very horrific nightmare. I saw my father, who had left us a long time ago, calling my name, but his appearance was very frightening, and he had fangs like the fangs of the dog that I saw, and he approached me and bit me with them. I barely woke up from the horror of what I saw. After that, I spent 2.5 days without sleep, fearing that I would have the same nightmare again. These stories are over. I hope they terrified you. Don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your opinions in the comments. May God's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you.